everybody, this is Tasha and I'm so happy to be with you today. And for the new subscribers and those who have been there with me all through, I am so grateful and I'm happy. And today's topic is going to be about reaching my hand. How do I stop my faith from failing? This is something that everyone goes through, and I would love you even as we are going to discuss this topic so that you may be with me all through, because the Spirit of God is actually speaking something different this time round, and for you to capture it clearly, please stay tuned up to the end. Every one of us have been in this situation. There are times that you feel like, how am I going to make this situation to change? I have done everything in my power and there's nothing changing, and you feel like God has forsaken you. There are those times that you feel that way, and even it ends up to a point where your mind is also disturbed. Your soul is not even at rest, and that is why the scripture tells us clearly that, my soul, why are you troubled within me? That is somebody speaking to their soul. Even you in this situation that you're in, I need you to come to a point where you can speak to your soul, because it can listen to you. Speak to your soul and tell him to be still, to have peace within itself, so that it may not be troubled anymore, because these words, they always have an effect. And another thing that I want you to know, that God still loves you. I want you to know that during this time that you're feeling that you cannot have faith, that you're feeling like you're doubting God, I need you to look at it that God has been faithful in other things. He has brought different kind of people around you. He has taken you from one level to another, and there are things that actually, if you look back at, you can say that my family maybe was sick at some point and God healed them, and there was maybe something that happened in your life and God actually helped you through it. So those are the things that you need to put in mind to help you through such a situation. The more you're grateful, the lesser these negative thoughts will be in your life. Now, there's this point where God is asking you, where is your faith? This is a question that God is continuously asking each and every one of us when you're having this troubling moment, when you're feeling like you cannot go on. These are questions that God is still asking you, because He knows that for you to get out of this situation, for you to persevere through this situation, you need to get your faith intact. Because some of us, you find that they get into situations, they are in these situations, but they end up dying in it, or they end up getting sick through having maybe too much things in their minds, and they get into depression, or they get even other kinds of diseases. But if you want to make it through, God is still asking you, where is your faith? Where did you drop your faith? Where was the last time that you stopped believing in Him? Where you stopped having faith in Him? Because He's saying that for you to have the courage, for you to have the strength to persevere through, you need your faith to be intact. You need your faith to be there with you. You need to hold on to your faith for you to make it through. Now, when we look at the case of the disciples when they were crossing the waters, and there was a storm, and Jesus was with them in that storm, yes, but He was sleeping. It's not like Jesus was not aware of that storm. He was aware of it. But how many of us are we able to sleep through the storm? Because sometimes you are having a storm and you are not even having any sleep. You have sleepless nights, and you are constantly thinking and wondering. What Jesus actually did is, when He woke up, He was asking them, where is your faith? That is the same thing. Where is your faith? Because your faith is enough to make things to change. Your faith is enough to tell you that even though this is the situation that I'm in, it's going to change. It's not going to be like this up to the end. And Jesus actually stood and spoke to the storm and told the storms, peace, be still. That is what I need you also to do in your situation. You know what you're facing, whatever kind of disease you're having, or whatever kind of financial issue you are having, or whatever issue you're facing, be it in workplace or in your family, you need to speak to the situation. You need to speak the words of the Bible to that situation, the words that have life, the words that actually bring a change into that situation. And the more you speak into it, the more the situation changes, because it can hear you and it can respond to your command. So I need you to constantly, continuously trust him and continuously know that he has given you the words. The power of the word is in your mouth. You can speak it and it can bring a result. Even if it does not bring the results immediately, know that it's changing the situation in the spirit realm, and it's only in a matter of time before it comes into manifestation into the physical. So I need you to have your faith intact, because this thing cannot come into manifestation without you having faith. Your faith has to be there. You have to consistently trust that God is there with you through the situation. Just the way Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were in a difficult situation, but through it, they actually trusted God. They actually believed in God. And you remember they even said, if God will show up for us, it is okay. But if God does not show up, they would still believe Him. I want us to reach a point where we are like that. As believers, as people who are created by God, let us trust God that because He has brought us even into this world, because He has taken the chance of taking care of us even through childhood up to this point, if He does not change the situation immediately, you will still trust Him. If He changes the situation, you will still trust Him. So that it reaches a point that your trust in God is not dependent on what is happening around you. Your faith in God is not dependent on whether a circumstance has changed or it has not. It does not define God. Your situation is just one, and you are the one going through it. It cannot define who God is. It cannot define God as maybe somebody who cannot be trusted, somebody who you cannot have faith in. He is a God like no other. And the next thing I need you to know is that faith is a substance of things not seen, an evidence of things hoped for. And for it to be a substance, it means it's something that you can have. It's something that you can have because God is the one who even strengthens our faith. And I need you to ask God at this point. You know what you're going through. Tell God, I need you to help build my faith in you, because without Him you cannot make it. Without Him strengthening you in your own strength, even if you go to tackle whatever you're facing, you will not be able to make it. Even if you go in the strength of friends, in the strength of family members, in the strength of connections with people that you have, if God does not come through for you, these people will not be able to help you even as much as you think. It's God alone who can help you. And it is telling you, faith is a substance. And if you do not have this substance, you do not have the evidence of the things you're hoping for. You do not have the evidence. And faith is the only way for us to have the evidence that although we are in this situation, it's going to change. Although things have been the way they are, but we know that God is going to turn it around at some point. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but it's going to be turned around. And I need us to reach a point where we are like, if it happens that this is the last thing that you do on earth, let it be that you leave this earth trusting God. Let it be that you leave this earth not being in a situation that whatever you are going through has overcome you and has even destroyed your faith. Let it be that even though maybe the situation did not turn around as you had thought, but you ended up still having your faith intact. Because what matters most is whether you believe in God. Do you trust Him enough? Do you see Him as a God who can come through for you? Because He says that He says He is the one who was there at the beginning and He is the one who is there at the end. So He's there with you all through the situation that you are going through. He's there with you even though things are not working out. So I need you to be like, if things do not turn around, I will trust God. If they do turn around, I will also trust God. And even if it is the last thing that I do with my life, let it be that I ended up trusting God up to the end. The situation did not change my perspective of God. The situation did not make me see God as somebody who had failed me. I want to see Him the way He has said, that He holds us in the palm of His hands, that He knows us by name. And if that is the situation, it means He's still in control of what is going going in your life. He is still the one who decides whether this situation has to end right now or not, and he is the one who knows how he's going to turn it around. And sometimes even by the end of it, he turns it around in a way that it's even much better than the way you thought it would have been. And another thing that you have to know, this battle, if it's not won within you, you cannot win the battle outside. Because if the battle within you it's not won, you are going to succumb to the situation, because your mind will be giving you a lot of thoughts. You'll be having so many negative thoughts. You will be even demeaning yourself at some point. You will be saying all kind of negative things to pull you down. By the end of it, you will either have depression or have certain diseases that are brought about because of somebody being constantly in worries, and this is not how God intended it to be. Let it be like you have already won the battle within you, such that by the end of this situation that you are in, you will not come out of it with a certain kind of disease. You will not come out of it while you have been affected in a certain way. Let your trust be in God. Let your faith be in God, and remove every kind of negative thoughts, every kind of thing that is uplifting itself, trying to tell you that God has not been faithful, that God is not standing with you. Remove it out of your mind. Remove it out of your mind totally. And the Bible clearly tells us in Philippians 4 verse 8, it says that, brothers and sisters, these are the things that are just paraphrased. These are the things that you need to think of. Those things that are exalting, those things that are noble, those things that are pure, those things that are true. Those are the things that you need to put your mind in. Tell yourself the truth, what the scripture says. The devil might be telling you that God has departed from you, or God is no longer standing with you. God is still there with you, because that is what the scripture says. He is still by your side. He's defending you no matter what you're going through. And you have to know that if you win this battle from within your mind, if you're able to capture your mind and bring it to submission to the voice of the Lord, it will be in a way that it will be able to enable you to hear the voice of God clearly, where He's directing you. Because once you've won this battle within you, then you can win this other battle that is outside. He will direct you. You will be able to see clearly. He's telling you move in this way, or He's telling you follow this direction, or He's telling you do this. You cannot see that if you're clouded with so many things. That is why for you even to hear God, you have to be still. You have to be at peace for you to hear God. And that only happens when you've removed every other thought outside your mind, so that you know clearly what He's telling you. And then the scripture clearly tells us, is there anything too hard for the Lord? That should be a question to your situation. When you look at it, would you look at it like it's too hard for the Lord to change it? That is where your faith should be out of at some point. Because when you realize that this thing, God can turn it around, when you realize that it only takes the hand of God for this situation to turn around, you will be able to stand in faith. You will be able to continuously trust in God. And sometimes it's better if you continuously bring into your mind the scriptures that will help you. Like, this is one of the good scriptures. If God is saying, is there anything too hard for Him? That question is directed to you. And if it's directed to you, you need to know that He's expecting you to trust Him. He's expecting you to look up to Him, because He's the solution provider. Do not look up to friends. Do not look up to relatives. Do not look up to other people, because at some point these people might run away from you. They might not be there to help you, but Him alone will be there for you. So know that He's the solution provider. He is the one who stands by your side in every situation. Even in your last breath, He will be the one who will be there with you. And another thing that God is telling us, these too shall pass away. If it's going to pass away, know that this is just something that is happening for a while. You don't need to panic so much. You don't need to look like everything has come to an end. No, it does not mean that. God is still in control. He's still the one controlling the events of everything that happens on earth, and He cannot bring you something that is going to destroy you. He needs you to stand in His might. He needs you to stand in His power, because He's able. Let your focus be on Him. Let your focus be on Him. He says, He has told you clearly, this shall pass away, and that is it. And another thing you need to know, that He is there to provide the solution, and He is a God who says that this situation is not there to destroy you. So I need you to rise up in His might, rise up in His power, because your own strength is not enough to sustain you. You can pray through the situation and it changes, but if it does not change, I need you to know that He is still there with you. He is still there to help you. He is still there to cover you. He is still there to give you that peace of mind that somebody only gets when they come closer to God. And that is the point where you need to come to God in worship. Because sometimes you might have all these problems, and the only place you get your peace is in His presence. The only place that you feel more safe, that you feel more certain of your future, is in His presence. Nowhere else will you feel that you're much safer than there. The last thing I need you to know, that though your flesh may fail, though your heart may fail, I need you to know that the Lord is still there with you all through the situation. He is there to help you. Do not run away from the situation, because at some point in your life you will have to face it. You will have to come back to that same situation, which at maybe at that point it will come in a different way, but it will still be the same problem that you'll be facing. So it's better you stay put, face what you are going through with boldness, knowing that God is still there with you all through to the end, and He cannot leave you, and you will never be defeated as long as your faith is in Him. And sometimes it's better if you look at it like when the wind blows, it's blowing in a certain direction and it's moving, it's not constant. So whatever your situation is, it's just like the wind. It's blowing, and yet yes, you're there, but it matters where your focus is. If your focus is on the wind, then the situation will go with you. It will blow you away. You will be destroyed by the end of it. But what if you are covered in His presence, if you are under the wings of the Lord, if you're in His presence, there's no way this situation will destroy you. It will just pass over, it will pass, and you will be still in His presence, continuously being protected by Him by the time this situation has ended. So I need you to stay put, and the only way for us to stay put is to continuously have faith in God and trust Him no matter what. Even if it's the last thing you do on earth, let it be that it said you trusted God up to the end. Stay tuned for the next video.